Today is September 13th, and the Mets are making a big push as they bury the Diamondbacks. Yelich gets hurt, and the Astros and A's go off for 20 runs each. Let's do it. Let's talk some baseball. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit on this Friday afternoon to talk some baseball. My name is John Boy. I'm coming to you from New Jersey. I got my co-host Jake coming to you from Denver wearing a Bernie Williams hat. Bernie Williams, for you non-Yankee fans, wore number 51, and today is his 51st birthday. I wonder if Jake even knows about that as he's wearing the 51 hat.
You're asking if I know it's my dad's birthday. What are we really doing here, people?
Okay, so you're aware. Did you put it on thinking I got to wear his hat, it's his birthday?
I mean, Jim, I'm going to leave this up to you. You know me pretty well. When was the last time you've seen me wearing this hat?
Never. But I know you well enough to know I don't think you know Bernie's birthday. Maybe you saw it in a tweet.
Well, my mother used to pretend he's my father, so what are we doing here?
Okay, what's the date of his birthday?
September 13th.
How'd you know that?
Jim, you were going to keep running into the same answer. We talked about this before the show.
And you're wearing my shirt, which is nice because it's close to my birthday in a sense.
You're wearing our shirt.
Yeah. Technically not. This is not supposed to be worn by me, but it is.
Well, it's true.
It's true. Welcome to Talkin Baseball. So much going on. I had a busy week with my girlfriend's parents in town, going to the city to try and find apartments, doing a ton of meetings for John Boy Media. That I know the big storylines, Jake, because I did make some breakdowns. I looked at the ejections and stuff. I don't really know how the standings went. Now I do for the National League because I was in charge, but I'm very interested in the American League to know what happened with the wild card race and the Central, which I think is still the Twins easily. But we'll get there eventually. First, gotta let you know who is sponsoring the show, Jake.
Okay.
Whole slew of fantastic people. Curtis Jett.
Whoo, speedster.
Yeah, that's a fast name.
Yeah.
Farfurda.
Not necessarily labeled a speedster normally, but maybe.
Farfurda. Matt Luckett.
Luckett, like that.
Evan Yenor.
See him around the Twitter sphere.
He's an old friend. Well, what about this name? Keithans Kawalicki.
So, Jim, I don't know if you met this person where we went to school, but me and Ken, our buddy, we were friends with the Keithans.
Keithans?
Yes, but his last name was Foshi. It was a really cool name, Keithans Foshi. So Keithans Kawalicki. I mean, we love alliteration on this show. So yeah, I'm all in.
All in. Hillary Wiskin.
Skin me away, Hillary.
Wiskin. Kev Madden. You think it's short for Kevin or just Kev?
Ooh, tough to say.
Okay. Kyle Davis. Kyle Davis is in the chat. Looks like he might be a Braves fan. And says, First time on the pod as a supporter, and I'm stoked. So thanks, Kyle Davis. Ryan Mitchell. It's a football name. Chris Macy. Ooh, yeah. Nate Steele. Strong name. And the last one is Alex the Animal.
I was going to say, I mean, if Nate Steele's a strong name, having your folks name you Alex the Animal, that's pretty...
No spaces. What kind of animal do you think Alex is?
Ooh, Alex the Animal.
I thought of a rude one, I think.
Okay.
Worm.
Alex the Animal, the worm, baby.
I just think it's funny to be like Alex the Animal and then it's a worm.
Hey, worms Dennis Rodman, man. Big 30 for 30 came out on him this week. The Worm.
Love him. Those are our most recent Patreon supporters. They get to interact live in the chat with us. They get the chance to win 2 jerseys every month. And when I'm not busy, I like to give them some extra stuff on the Patreon page as well, behind the scenes of making breakdowns and shit like that. Jake, how are you doing? Are you nervous at all about how little baseball's left in the season? Are you excited? For me, for talking baseball, I'm so excited for the postseason.
Yeah.
For talking Yanks, my Yankee fandom, I get a little sad that the season's ending because it's closer to no baseball. Like, I'm excited for the postseason, obviously, but it's closer to no baseball, and the Yankees are my everyday life. But as like these other teams, the Dodgers, the Braves, I'm so excited for the postseason. Like, let's see what we got here.
Yeah, and Jim, I think the other elephant in the room there is,
Alex the Animal.
Talking Yanks ends one of 2 ways. It ends really sad or really happy.
That's true.
Talking baseball, if there's a crazy NLCS game between the Dodgers and the Braves, Cardinals and the Braves, my Braves, let my Braves be in there. We'll be able to talk about that on Talking Baseball and be like, oh, that 3-2 pitch by Soroka, that was incredible. So yeah, for Talking Baseball, it's like it's just building up full speed ahead. For Talking Yanks, it's like, all right, the train's going to be going, and we're either going to celebrate at the end, or there's going to be a really sad episode where you and I stare at each other and go, well, I don't know. You look back, it was a really good season, but it's not what we wanted. And, we'll talk about the offseason in a week or so. Don't talk to us.
I'm also really excited for the wildcard games not being in it. We've talked about that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Still need the Rays to not host one.
Crazy really drunk. That was my deal.
You're going to be crazy drunk?
That was my deal for everyone on Talking Baseball, that I don't have to. Like, the wildcard games are so nerve-wracking, like I couldn't drink during that.
What's the date of the wildcard games?
They're what? The Tuesday and the Wednesday? I don't know.
October 1st and October 2nd.
Okay.
October 1st and October 2nd. So okay, so that's a Tuesday and a Wednesday. So I don't know what our other commitments are. But yeah, we should maybe try and go live on YouTube or something. You're going to have it on definitely. Cable, right?
What's that?
You're going to have them on cable, right?
Yeah, because they're going to be, TBS and Fox or whatever.
We won't be dealing with a delay. So, yeah, maybe we try and live stream a little during that.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll see. That's such a commitment that it's hard to... I shouldn't have thrown it out there before.
We're going to be watching them.
Going to be watching them. I'd like to be making gifts and stuff, too, so we'll see. But you can carry that when I get busy. Anyway, Jake, are you ready for the National League report?
I think I am, Jim, and I know you said... You said you were excited to hear about the American League. I've got some stuff in there you're going to like. But, yeah, you got to catch me up on the NL. And I love that you opened with Mets Diamondbacks. And hindsight's 2020. Would have called that the shovel series. Like, just put a bunch of shovels on the middle. Someone's getting buried this series.
Yeah.
Well, is it you? Is it us? Or is it both of us? Who's getting buried?
It's like you throw, a gun in the room with 2 guys and, figure it out.
It's the Joker scene.
Yeah. Wow.
Cool setup, Jake.
National League report is brought to you by our friends over at the Roosevelt's RSVLTS shirts. They are the most comfortable shirts you've ever worn. Conversation starting shirts. I got a whole box of them over here. I got the major league ones. If you go to rsvlts.com/johnboy, you can get, they have curated a collection of all baseball ones. Jake has one called Miami Vice and one called My Grandma's Couch, I believe, which when you chose those and I ordered them and they're in the box here, I was like, damn, these are really Jake shirts. Those are.
Miami Vice, it was like no thought process was allowed. It was like, oh, that shirt needs me and I need that shirt. I'm blanking on Grandma's Rug, but I'm excited. I'm going to see it in less than 24 hours.
Not rug, couch.
Grandma's Couch, excuse me.
It's like a floral design.
They should do one that's like Grandma's Dog, and it's just covered in hair.
Could
the whole Grandma collection.
It's a shag shirt.
Don't say those words around me.
Well, go to rsvlts.com/JohnBoy. Use discount code JohnBoy at checkout. You get 20% off. And I do have to apologize. Last episode, we were talking about their slogan, Dare Mighty Things. It's a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. And in the context of the quote, it makes more sense. And we were like, what does that even mean? I don't even get it.
Yeah.
Truth or dare? To dare mighty things. But it's kind of shorthand for dare yourself to do mighty things. What's the mightiest thing you've ever done? That time you got beat up? Took on 5 guys and lost? That was that was a big dare.
It's kind of a big dare.
Daring. A lot of lesser men wouldn't have done that.
I didn't think that it was just going to be the 5 and me. It's the biggest thing I've dared. I don't know, man.
Okay.
Tough.
Cool. The National League Report. The music from the show is always Mikey Rotuno, who I want to give a lot of love to because I love all the music. The Pirates took 3 out of 5 from the Giants. No one really cares. The Dodgers and the Orioles met up for a 3-game set, and the Dodgers won 2 of the 3. Walker Buehler and John Means had good starts. Rich Hill made his return from the injured list, Jake. Exited the game with a knee injury before getting out of the first inning. That's not the best sign for them. The Phillies and the Braves split a 4-game set in Philadelphia, which is good for Philly because the Braves are a really good team, but also you're looking to do more than that. Dallas Keuchel had another good start for the Braves, so good for them and good for Keuchel. The premier series is the Mets swept the Diamondbacks in the Shovel Series, a 4-game set. They won the first 2 in close games, then they blew them out in the next 2. In the first game, DeGrom had a good start. Alonso went deep twice. In the second game, Wheeler had a good start. Todd Frazier had all 3 RBIs. In the third game, Matz had a good start. Todd and McNeil both go deep twice. In the fourth game, Stroman had a good start, and Juan Lagares goes deep twice. Offense and pitching coming through every single game. The Diamondbacks were held to 4 runs in the 4 games. The Snakes go from 1.5 out of the wild card to 3.5 out, and the Mets jump from 4 to 2. It's a big series for the Mets and momentum and all things Metropolitans. The Brewers swept the Marlins in a 4-game set. Old friend Tyler Austin had a 9th-inning sac fly to win Game 2. In Game 3, Mike Moustakas had a 2-run homer in the 9th to take the lead. Big comeback wins. Big sweep for the Brewers. Gets them right back into the race. But Yelich is hurt and out for the season, and that is fairly damaging. The Nationals beat the Twins in 3 games. Berrios and Anibal had a fun pitcher's duel in Game 1, I believe. Nats win. The Rockies won a series, Jake. The Rockies won 2 games out of 3 against a team. It was the Cardinals. Chichi Gonzalez had a really nice start, and he's got a really fun name, so I put him in the notes. The Cubs and Padres had a 4-game set, and Jake was very excited about this one last episode. The Padres won 2, and the Cubs won 2. Padres walked off a game, then they shut the Cubs out in a game. Then Yu Darvish went to work and dropped a 14K start. As for the standings, the Brewers and Cubs are now tied for the second wildcard spot, both sitting at 78 and 68 on the season. Mets and Phillies are both 2 games behind them, tied themselves. That's your National League report.
Who doggy? Who Darvish?
Who?
Darvish.
Who Darvish?
Man, caught a little bit of you. Great stuff, James.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Caught a little bit of you start against the Padres. He was throwing dirty stuff. That was between the Yankees doubleheader the other day. So got to watch a little bit of that. Jim, I mean, what jumps out is that Pirates-Giants series. No, I don't want to talk about that at all. Let's talk about the Amazins, man. I preluded it, the Shovel series. They won't die, man. In Mets fashion, they got written off by even their own faithful last week, and now here they are scrapping. I mean, it's still not in the likely bucket, but they're around.
Step right up and meet the Mets. Greet the Mets. They beat the Diamondbacks. Hey, and this was kind of a you versus me, because you were saying the Diamondbacks are in it, and I was saying no, they're not, but the Mets are. Not that, well, this doesn't answer any of those questions, but we were both, I was saying the Mets are in it and the Diamondbacks aren't, which I was like kind of wrong about because they were both in it up until this series. But Diamondbacks failed. I mean, the Mets did good, but we also got to say the Diamondbacks, like, what are you doing?
This was in the shovel series, the Diamondbacks, they flunked the dunk. I mean, this was, you'd put so much work in to get yourself to this point. And I mean, it's also credit to the Mets. They went out and they shoved and they had the magic going a little bit. The pitching was there. You mentioned, I mean, some of the hitting performances, Alonso, Frazier, Lagares. I don't know if you saw the highlights from that, Jim, but they did the classic. He came up with the bases loaded, and the broadcaster, which, you know, this isn't Nostradamus stuff, but the broadcaster goes, you know, he's never had a grand slam. Hits the grand slam. Everyone's going nuts. Good times in Metsland. Comes up for the second at bat, and this one was pretty good. The announcer goes, and you know, he's never had a multi-homer game. Should I try that one? And then he hit another homer, and he got his first multi-homer game. So that was kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, the D-backs, you put in a lot of work to get where you are, and then to have a series like this happens, that's brutal. For the Mets, I mean, it's still 2 games out, and you still have to hop, 3 teams? But, Jim, I think the bigger thing, because, again, last week they blew the 7-run game, and everyone was ready to bury the Mets and everything that's been going on with them. Jim, at the trade deadline, the Mets went out and got Stroman. And, you know, are they going to trade Wheeler? Are they going to trade? Who are they going to move? They go out. They got Stroman. Hey, if you told them with 2 weeks to play that they'd be 2 games out of the wild card, I think they'd be pretty happy with that. So, I mean, shout out to the Mets.
Well, they're almost done with this tough stretch. You know, we said, like, they have a tough stretch of games here. It was really tough, and they got swept by the Braves. Then they got swept by the Cubs, and it was like, damn. They got Philly, the Nationals, Philly, and Arizona coming up. They beat Phillies 2 out of 3. They beat the Nationals 2 out of 3. They lost to the Phillies 2 out of 3, but then they sweep Arizona. So they come out looking pretty good. They have 3 games against the Dodgers coming up. And who are the Dodgers going to pitch? Because after that, it's kind of gravy for them. The Mets. Like, after that, if they want to go on a tear, they have the schedule to do it. They're gonna get Kershaw and Ryu, and we'll see. And Syndergaard starting versus Kershaw. Syndergaard's been causing some noise. Have you heard all that? This catcher, he doesn't like throwing to, I'm blanking, some big.
Yes, Mets officials last week going to pair him with either Nito or Rivera instead of Wilson Ramos.
Yeah, and one of the reports was like he was livid and he went to talk to Mickey and he was like, I wasn't livid. It was a calm discussion. And then
just want to throw to one of these other guys, man.
Yeah, no, but then somewhere I was reading or listening to, maybe it was Joe and Evan on WFAN. They're like, I'm sick of this dude. He's really good. I'm sick of him. I think so. I don't know if that rings true for a lot of Mets fans, but I was sick of Syndergaard earlier in the season. He just kind of complains a ton, it seems like. I that could be false narrative. I'm a little not like in deep, but seems like he's complaining about a lot of things a lot of times.
It feels like there's a lot going on and whatever comes from it, kind of.
Like Wheeler, DeGrom, Matz, never hear them as like complainers.
Right.
Feels like Syndergaard's always complaining.
But and maybe there is a little New York media there. These other guys, maybe they don't really do much of anything, so they gravitate towards Syndergaard and they make a story out of the story. Like we just said with this. He just said, hey, man, I'd really like to throw to one of these other catchers. And then look at the first things we say, that, Syndergaard threw a tantrum and asked for another catcher. And it's like, well, the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, but it gets blown up a little more.
Yeah. Well, good for the Mets. They're 2 out. Hey, man, if they can win games against Kershaw and Ryu, still impressive, even though both of them are on a slide. If they can win this Dodgers series.
Yeah.
then I'll get really excited because I still don't think there's a chance they will really win the wild card. I still think it's locked up with Cubs or Cardinals, or Cubs or Brewers. But now Brewers are tough, so maybe the Mets can squeak out. But if they win this Dodgers series, Jake, I'm almost become a believer that they get the second wild card.
Wow.
Because the schedule from there is pretty easy. It's Rockies, Reds, Marlins, and then 3 with the Braves at the tail end. And we know the Phillies, who they're competing with, and is a harder schedule. I think Phillies are excited they split with the Braves, which is kind of like mentally not where your head should be.
Yeah, it's tough, man. The Braves are crazy good. I mean, you're obviously going to hear me talk about them because that's a main feature on Talking Baseball. But dude, I mean, like literally, we've done this since right before the All-Star break, Jim. You and I, we did a couple like tester episodes, and then we let it rip on all the main channels. Can you remember an episode where we're like, "Ooh, Braves slip up"? like no, they just don't.
Well, I think this one is I was surprised that they didn't win this series.
Right, but like you were saying, this series means so much more to Philly, and it's in Philly.
Yeah. Do you have the Braves beating the Dodgers, or like is this swoon from the Dodgers? Like, who cares? Because I still think the Dodgers can turn it on at any second. But also, it's definitely a better series than it was 2 months ago in my head.
Right. I think that's definitely the case. I mean, the Dodgers are still more talented. I'd say the thing you're running into, and I don't know if I'd call it like a Texas Rangers effect or a Cleveland Indians effect a little bit, but the Dodgers had a couple really good tries at it, and maybe they just turn it on and they're easily the team out of the NL. That wouldn't surprise anyone. But what if these Braves do get some momentum or one of these other teams catch fire? I mean, the pressure falls on the Dodgers because they are the most talented team that's been there the past 2 years. I mean, the pressure is going to be on them. If one of these other teams gets some magic going, which it feels like the Braves have a little bit of, and I mean, we'll see if one of these teams from the Central can get it going, or hell, the freaking Amazin Mets, man. How awesome would that first round series be? The Mets versus the Dodgers, the Mets playing with some of the most house money you could find in baseball, and the Dodgers like just needing to survive, but otherwise they're kind of like a laughing stock, like an NL dynasty laughing stock if somehow the Mets played the Dodgers and they beat them.
Yeah. The freaking amazing Mets.
But there's a lot of dream in there still.
What's going on with the Brewers? Like the Yelich injury is brutal. They're currently tied for the second wild card with the Cubs. Big for them because they were like out of it 3 series ago. Remember they're like 4.5 back or something?
Yeah.
Like, shit. They're currently tied 78 and 68 with the Cubs for the second wild card. But Jake, Yelich is out. And who are they have?
Hira, your guy, Jim, and it's funny they have a big series this weekend because they face the Cardinals in St. Louis. You just mentioned the Cardinals lost, and I think Flaherty opens up this series for the Cardinals, so that's going to be a brutal ask. But Jim, the Brewers, their pitching has gotten going a little bit. I'm going to talk about that a little later. Jim, after this Cardinals series, so they've got 3 with the Cardinals. So, I mean, even if you get one, like it's not the end of the world. Jim, they host the Padres. They host the Padres for 4. They host the Pirates for 3. Then it's 3 against Cincy, 3 against Colorado. I mean, you talked about the Mets having a good schedule. I mean, if the Brewers can survive this St. Louis series, just don't get swept. I mean, they're looking good, man.
But who's their pitching? Like, I know who their pitching is. Hauser, Lyles, Gio Gonzalez had a good start, I believe. Maybe he didn't. But
I mean, I think, Jim, they're
compare that to DeGrom, Syndergaard, Stroman, Matz, Wheeler.
Right, but they're kind of in just piece it together mode, man. I mean, they're Hader's gotten it going. They've got Claudio in the pen, Guerra. I mean Hauser. I mean Zach Davies has had a solid year. Woodruff is hurt. I think they're just kind of day by day. Jordan Lyles has been great since the trade deadline. Drew Pomeranz is doing good things for them. So I think they're just kind of like day by day. They're kind of in that baseball mode where you look at the lineup every day and you say, all right, I mean, we lost Yelich, which is nuts. Grandal, he's having a really good year. Tames is having a good year. Hyura, Moustakas.
Okay, I have something. I have a definitive take or point of view now, which if we have any Brewers fans listeners, you're not going to like. I'm not rooting for the Brewers. With Yelich out, no one excites me on the Brewers besides Hader, and he's at the end of games when you're winning. None of the starting pitchers excite me. I don't think the Brewers can make a run even if they win the wild card. And I'd much rather the Mets get into the wild card and see that starting pitching do something and kind of the magic instead of this piecemeal Brewers team.
And that's kind of fair, Jim. I mean, it does hurt to say. I will say this, Jim. If you look at the games played, you'll like the Brewers. They run the same guys out there every day pretty much. And so I know you're into that a little bit. The Yelich thing is awful. That's kind of why we were rooting for the Brewers, because it's like, hey, if Yelich wants to go nut job, we are here for it. And that it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a sucky thing, but we like when teams rally in sports. But, like, if the Brewers went on a run without Yelich, that would also suck. Like, he's so good. And then if the Brewers get going, it's kind of going to be, I don't know. It'd be an interesting storyline to see how it all goes down. But I get what you're saying. That is a little tough for the Brew Crew.
Yeah. Anything else in the National League you want to mention or talk about before we move on? I mean, the Cubs and Padres. That was you were very excited for that, and you were rooting for the Padres to spoil the Cubs. They split. Are you still against the Cubs?
I mean, I just want that wild card. Like, I want the Mets, Philly, and maybe Zona if they can get hot somehow. Lost their last 5. That's a tough way to go about it, Zona.
All right. I have a question, Jake.
Right.
Okay, so this is what you and I want.
Right.
How did the series break down coming up? So we have the Mets versus the Dodgers. So we're rooting for the Mets to win, right? We're rooting for the Mets to win 2 of 3. Cubs, Pirates.
Yeah, they have to survive a little bit. If they lose 2 of 3 to the Dodgers, it's not the end of the world with their upcoming schedule.
No, but this is what we're hoping for, because we want a 4-way tie in the wild card after this weekend.
Okay.
So anyone else, and if you're an American League fan, this is probably what you're rooting for, because mayhem's more fun. Mets have to take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. Pirates take 2 of 3 from the Cubs, which I don't know is possible. Brewers take 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. No. We need the Cardinals. They'll take the division. Brewers lose 2 of 3.
Oh, Jimmy, I'm going to stop you there. I was just about to say the Cardinals might come back to earth with the other teams. Jim, the Cardinals, they've got the Brewers this series. Jim, we've been doing a lot of schedule talk. Listen to this happy horse shit. So the Cardinals host the Brewers for 3. Fine. They host the Nationals for 3. That's tough. The Cardinals then go on the road to the Cubbies for 4. They go to the West Coast. They play the Diamondbacks for 3. And then they host the Cubs for 3 to end the year. So, I mean, the Cubs kind of control their own destiny a little bit. I mean, give me Central mayhem. Give me wild card mayhem.
No, okay. I'm rooting for the Brewers to lose 2 of 3 from the Cubs, and then the Red Sox to beat the Phillies, or for the Phillies to beat the Red Sox twice. Then we have a 4-way tie for the second wild card after 1 weekend of play. That is my rooting interest going into the weekend. And that kind of wraps up the general National League talk. So we will move on to the AL report, which is brought to you by Squints Apparel. Softest shirts. They sent me some shirts, Jake. Incredibly soft. Like they really are very, very soft. I thought the shirts we sell are soft. Shirts we sell are soft. Theirs are like that real thin, like cotton ball material.
Charmin.
Yeah, super soft. And you know what? They sent me a bomber jacket. Did you see me wearing it?
No.
Oh, dude, they sent me a bomber jacket because we had talked on this show about how we didn't think our physique played well in bomber jackets. As soon as I put it on, Katie said, "Wow, it looks good on you."
Whoa.
And then her mom said it looked good. And then I wore it in my post-game recap. Some people were like, looking cute, Jimmy. So I'll show you the bomber jacket when you get here.
Okay.
I still don't feel cool enough that I can pull it off because I just think of myself as uncool.
Sure.
But go to squintsapparel.com to check out all the things we were talking about. Sandlot, Legends Never Die, bomber jacket. They got Squints, hats, shirts, sweatshirts. They're incredibly soft. Get 20% off with the discount code JOMBOY. Go search, go shop, go check out Squints. Follow them on social medias too, Squints Apparel. They got some cool designs. If you love the Sandlot as much as I do, you're going to enjoy it. The American League Report, Jake.
James, on top of the East and all of baseball in the American League, the Yankees, they lose Game 1 to the Detroit Tigers 12-11 in a wild punt game. Yankees come back. They win both games on a doubleheader day after the rainout to win the series. Boy, and Didi get going. Edwin and Gary behind the plate get nicked up. It sounds like the Yankees season. Tampa Bay, the Rays lose 2 out of 3, visiting the ballpark in Arlington as the Rangers bullpen them to death. Kind of both teams did. And there's a fun moment, Jim. You're going to love this. Nick Solak for the Rangers, the rookie. He homered off Fairbanks for Tampa, who he was traded for 2 months ago. That's our favorite. So they won that trade. Think I'll go to Boston. Actually, the Sox went to Toronto to play the Baby Jays. The Red Sox win Game 3 to fend off the sweep Toronto. Trent Thornton, here's a who. He shut him out in Game 2. Jim, finally in the East, the Orioles played 3 games against the Dodgers. They won one. Huge for Baltimore. John, what do you mean? Good for him. In the Centrale, you heard the Tigers snuck one out against the Yanks. Minnesota, they hosted the Nationals. Barrios helped shut out the Nats in Game 1. Then those pesky Nats won the final 2 games, flexing the long ball behind the usual suspects you'd expect for Washington. Jimmy, your Cleveland Indians. What's dead may never die. Indians sweep the Angels in Anaheim. Impressive starts from Zach Plesac and not Justin, but Shane Bieber. The White Sox hosted the Royals for this week's Stink Bowl. Royals win 2 out of 3, sure. In the West, you heard Texas beat up on the Rays. You heard about Anaheim forcing our free Mike Trout chance. And Seattle getting some dubs in interleague play. Jim, the leading Houston Astros win Game 1 against Oakland. Put up 15 runs, give them the World Series. But then guess what? The A's take Game 2, putting up a 21 spot of their own, and they win the final 2 games in Houston. The A's, they take 3 out of 4. Matt Olson, man, some clutch hits. That dude's for real. Good for Oakland. Love him. And Jim, that's your AL report.
Whoa.
Oh.
Whoa. What's going on in Houston?
Dude. Jimmy, it's funny. A phrase I haven't said on here in too long is that you say baseball moves fast. Think about how long ago was that Monday game where Houston, they put up 15 runs. They won 15-0. Everyone's freaking out like, oh, boy, Astros season, man. These guys can't be stopped. And then Oakland, they say, we see your 15, we raise you 21, and then they win 2 games. They get a couple clutch hits from Olsen. I think it was 5-3 they won the second game, and then maybe 4-3 the final. I'm blanking on that right now. But Oakland, man, they're they're turning it on. They're calling up a couple big-time prospects, Jimmy, who are doing good things for them, trying to catch the magic. It's a fun time to be an Oakland A's fan.
Hendricks is awesome. I watched the end of the game yesterday. Went live on Periscope for it because I was like, yeah, let's watch this together. His fastball is just dotting 99-mile-per-hour fastballs right on the inside corner. It was so awesome. I have a big theory that Fiers was tipping pitches.
Right.
And then the next day, Houston pitcher was tipping pitches himself.
You're going double tipped pitches.
Well, no, I didn't look at the box score of the next game. Who got lit up for Houston?
I think it was Wade Miley has been getting absolutely killed for them recently.
But that doesn't even matter for them, right? Like would be the same as for the Yankees. That would be the same as J.A. Happ getting lit up, and Yankee fans would be like, "Don't care."
Yeah. Let me check. Yeah, Wade Miley, 0.1 innings pitched, 7 earned runs.
Yeah, so they were trading cameras, tipping pitches back and forth. I mean, Mike Fiers' line, that doesn't happen unless you're tipping pitches. Honestly.
Baseball, it's a good team. It's a hitter's park.
Jake, single, home run, hard ground out, single, home run. How many swinging strikes were there?
You'd have to tell me.
Okay. Through the first 2 batters, none.
Okay.
Through the first 4 batters, none. Okay, we're inching closer and closer to this being tipping pitches.
Could have just not had his stuff that day.
Through the first 6 batters, there's not one swinging strike. Okay, the 7th batter has one. Finally. Yeah, he was tipping pitches. We got 2 swinging strikes in the first inning. And there was 7 batters or 9 batters. 9 batters, 2 swinging strikes, 3 home runs, 4 singles. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I think that's the easiest solution there.
There's a chance, for sure.
Altuve homered. Damn. They're good at that. They're good at picking that up. Like when the Yankees went there into Houston, who was it? Paxton was tipping pitches, and they just lit him up. They just spit on everything, and then when the fastball came, they just rocked him. And Beltran was like, yeah, you're tipping your pitches. It was pretty obvious. So... But then Wade Miley, maybe he's doing the same thing. That was crazy. And then like the 2 blowouts and then such a close game. 3-2 with 2 runners on in the bottom of the 9th. And Hendricks trying to close it out. Like that is the craziness of baseball.
Brantley up there, runners on. Yeah, it's and I mean that's a big brother game. I mean Houston has been obviously dominant for a couple years now. They've got the budget. They can bring on a Justin Verlander when he was struggling, making $20+ million. Oakland can't do something like that. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a big brother, little brother effect going on there. But, yeah, I mean, I mentioned a couple young guys. Sean Murphy, that catcher, big-time catching prospect, Jim, he had a big series. They called up Jesus Luzardo. You'll hear about him later on Call-Up Watch. Oakland's pulling everything out, man. They're pulling out all the stops.
Oakland can't do what?
Bring in Justin Verlander for $20+ million.
They can. They have the money. They just choose not to run their organization.
Well, that's not how they operate. That's how the owner. So technically, they can't. Like the GM and the team can't.
The GM and the team can't. The owner could. So
right.
That's why I never give the A's like credit for not spending money. They're always like, we're a small market team. It's like, no, you have one of the richest owners in baseball. You can't choose to be cheap and then use it as like an excuse. Like.
Well, the GM and the players and the fans of the organization can. It's on the owner.
Yeah, but yeah.
But the A's can't bring them in because that's what their owner does. That's how he operates that business.
Yeah, no, but they can bring them in. They just don't. The owner is the A's.
Right.
Yeah. They could be, and like they have a big baseball city. Like Astros were garbage 5 years ago, and they were smart. A's refused to do that stuff. They'd rather roll the dice, and every 3 years they're really competitive, and then they'll trade everyone away. It's terrible.
It's I don't know. It's kind of been working for them. They've been good for a few years now.
They haven't won anything.
Right. But not a lot of teams have.
Astros have.
Astros have.
Yeah. Well, the A's are now in the lead in the wild card, which gives them home field advantage, which is perfect. Stay that way. And the Indians get right back in. They're only a half game out. They're actually tied with the Rays in the loss column. So these wild card races are getting excited. This one is actually pretty cool. I mean, where are the Red Sox in this?
I mean, they're done. They died last week. They're down to 9.5 out.
Yeah, they're gonna. You think they'll finish above 500? They have to. They're 7 games above 500. They have to really tank. They have to go 7 or 6 and 10 in their next whatever.
Yeah, and they won't do that until they're officially eliminated from the wild card, which I think is 6 games. And then, I mean, you'll see them probably rest guys and stuff. So, I mean, it's not crazy to think about. But, yeah. I mean, the story is Cleveland, Tampa, Oakland, and Jim, Minnesota. This is what I want to get you excited about. Jim, the Indians, we basically marked them for dead. Jose Ramirez has been out. They've been losing games. They've been, Oakland and Tampa are bringing up either prospects or guys getting healthy. Jimmy, the lead in the AL Central is 3.5 games, and the Cleveland Indians are hosting Minnesota for 3 games this weekend.
Yeah, I know that's kind of exciting because we said that keep it close, keep it within strike range for when you play them, and they didn't do that. Then they beat the Twins. They beat the Twins the last 3 series they've played them, I think. Something like that.
Can't confirm.
Yeah, so they beat them last series. They took 2 of 3. And then the one before that, they took 3 of 4. So the last 2 times they've played, they've beat them. Now they welcome them. But who's the pitching matchups? Because I know Cleveland just threw Plesac.
I mean, it doesn't really matter for Cleveland, Jim. They've got arms on arms on arms.
They do?
Yeah, dude. Their pitching is insane right now. Bieber's a stud. Clevenger is a stud. Plesac is a stud.
So they have Bieber and Clevenger going. And then Savali, who was...
Savali?
He was doing really well.
It's not a lot of names but these Cleveland pitchers, it's wild.
All right, so I'm now rooting for all that in the National League 4-way tie, and I want the Indians to sweep the Twins.
Okay, that's fair.
If the Indians sweep the Twins, that fucks the Twins and the Rays / A's.
Yeah.
If the Indians win 2 out of 3 against the Twins or sweep them, that's big changes across the board.
Yeah, two out of 3. I mean, that's what I was going to say. If you're Minnesota, you need to get 1. Because if you could get 1, you're still going to walk out of there with a solid lead in the division. Minnesota, this is a massive series. They have to fend off that sweep because, Jim, now they are back in the midst of the wild card race if they don't. And that's what would be crazy. And that's why I was kind of rooting for that in the NL Central too. Because, I mean, we can make both these Centrals and wild card races a mess real quick. It'll be interesting to see what Minnesota does. There's been a couple times we've kind of called them out and we've been looking for them to, hey, show us Minnesota. We know you're hitting home runs, but show us. So maybe this is a chance for them too to go to Cleveland and try to seal off the division.
I want a sweep.
Right.
I won't rest till I get it.
Well, you better.
I'm not a believer in the Twins, and it might slap me in the face big time. But I haven't been, and I won't be until I have to be.
Won't be until you see it. You got to see it. And I think that's fair. That's not being too rude.
I like Nelson Cruz.
It's good.
Mitch Garver, catcher.
Yep.
Got to respect that. Everything else is kind of bad. Orioles are bad. Yankees are getting hurt left and right.
Yanks get a couple injuries. That was a crazy thing, and I don't know. I'll mention it a couple times, but there's if you're listening to this, but maybe I'm gonna make it a mission to like spread knowledge of punt days in baseball better. Like, and NBA has their rest days where they keep their guys rested and healthy, and they're kind of punting those games a little bit. With how fragile pitchers are and everything that's going on, and you all have seen it. But tell a baseball friend that doesn't know yet that, like, yeah, there's probably once a week that, sometimes twice a week, that teams are throwing terrible guys out of their bullpen and losing games, because that's kind of part of the state of baseball right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of people on Twitter that they just hear, like, the cookie cutter regurgitated take, and they'll just say it without knowing anything. Like, the Yankees lost to the Indians, and they're like, well, you really don't have any pitching. Good luck winning in the playoffs with that pitching. And it's like, well, they didn't throw a single guy who's going to be on the playoff roster. So don't just talk without knowing anything.
Right.
And that's the same thing that was said about Houston with Wade Miley. Like, is he going to affect their playoff chances? Probably not.
Don't think so. Not anymore.
Yeah. So it's you got to know that kind of stuff. Jake, are you ready to go to our standout performances?
Standout performances. Yeah, Jim. Excited for yours.
I get to go first.
Yep.
And I'm doing a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And by that, I should let you guys know, I've never interacted or talked with him. But he follows me on Twitter, and he retweets me every now and then. Todd Frazier. Pride of Tom's River. Todd Father. Having a rather lackluster season for a while. He went off in this Diamondback series, Jake. And he played in 3 of the 4 games. He went 5 for 10, 2 doubles, and 3 home runs. 5 hits, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 7 RBIs. He scored 4 runs, so he's responsible for 11 runs that crossed the plate. But the thing is, they were really big RBIs. In the 2 double game that he got, the Mets won 3-2. He had all 3 RBIs, so he's the offense. In the next game, the Mets won big, but it was Todd's home run in the first that was like the dagger. They're up 2-0. Todd hits the home run. That goes from 2-run first inning, easy to recover from, to a 4, harder. And then after him, another home run, 5 runs in the first for the Mets. And Todd's a big part of that with the home run. He had another home run later on. And then in the third game, the Mets win big again, but the first run that crossed the board was a second inning homer from Todd. Gets it going. Big series for the Mets. Big series for all the pitching. And there was other guys. McNeil had 2 home runs. Lagares had a lot of RBIs and 2 home runs. Alonso had 2 home runs in the first game. All of Todd's hits were huge momentum changers from tied games or, close games. There was no, tack-on homers. Todd Frazier had himself a hell of a 3-game stretch.
Having a good couple weeks, too. His last 13, 378, 465 on base, 5 homers, 15 ribbies in 13 games. All of you just give a good friend.
Best friend of mine.
A good best friend.
Who's your standout performance?
John, my standout performance, and we're bringing it back to Believeland. I went Zach Plesac. I could have went. I thought about Bieber. I also thought about you, Darvish. I was feeling the pitchers this week. Zach Plesac, we talked about him a little bit. He's a rookie, Jim. His uncle Dan was a major league pitcher for a long time. Zach Plesac out of Ball State, Muncie, Indiana. Jerry Gergich's timeshare, Jimmy. He went complete game shutout, man, and this is we can make our generic jokes that this is going the way of the dinosaur. You're not going to see a lot more of these in baseball. 5 strikeouts, but that's fine because he gave up no earned runs, Jim. And I kind of an extension of this is the Cleveland Indians staff as a whole. But Zach's been good, man. For his rookie year, 19 games started, 8-6 with a 3.64 ERA. And I gave that whole spiel about punt days and rest and bullpens. Complete game shutouts, man. I mean, those re-energize your team for a couple of days. You've rested your bullpen. You got the win yesterday. I mean, that is like a big trump card in a series when other team is starting to burning through their arms and you get a full rest day out of it. And Jim, I think the other thing that is funny, we wrote off the Indians a little bit. I mentioned Ramirez getting hurt. They were starting to slide. Minnesota grew their lead. Oakland and Tampa both had reinforcements coming, and we were like, Cleveland, this is kind of tough. Know what helps you win a lot of baseball games? Pitching. Really good pitching, and Cleveland has that on a day-to-day basis. And I think back towards there was a part of this Yankees season when the first Island of Misfit Toy Yankees got going on their West Coast trip, and it was like, wow, how are these Yankees winning? Who are these guys? And it was like, well, the Yankees were pitching really good. And sometimes it's tough to ignore that, especially when they're not household names. Bieber's not a household name yet. Plesac isn't. Savali. Even Clevenger, who's a stud, but he's not well known yet. But, I mean, they throw those guys on a given day, and you've got a chance to win.
I had Plesac as my standout performance, but I changed to Todd. Because the Angels are so bad, and Mike Trout didn't play, and Ohtani got hurt and pinch hit for. So this is what we're looking at, Jake. Brian Goodwin, David Fletcher, Ohtani, Tabor.
Good.
Justin Upton.
Yeah.
Cole Calhoun.
All-star.
Andrelton Simmons.
Stud.
Jared Walsh.
Okay, then it gets bad, yeah.
Luis Rengifo.
Love him.
Anthony Bemboom. And I looked through the game log and I was like, these guys suck. They were just swinging early and putting balls in play. He only had 5 strikeouts. Like, the Angels were not trying.
Is this Bemboom? So there's 2 catchers right now. There's Bemboom and Keyboom. Okay, so this is Bemboom's second team this year. So he's been on Tampa and the Angels.
Wasn't he the 29-year-old rookie that came up?
Yeah, so he was the 29-year-old rookie. Who's So Keyboom. Okay, so Keyboom. There's a Spencer Keyboom on the Nationals. There's a Carter Keyboom who's also on the Nationals. This is starting to freak me out. I'm done with the booms.
There's 2 Keybooms?
Yeah. There's 2 Keybooms in Major League Baseball, right?
And they're on the same team? How do you spell their name?
K-I-E Boom.
The fuck? Oh, so Spencer's not with the Nationals anymore? He's on the IL and he hasn't played at all this year.
Right.
Are they brothers?
I think it would say that in Baseball Reference. It doesn't say anything. They gotta be, right?
How do you have 2 Keybooms on the same team? How do you have Carter Keyboom and Spencer Keyboom? One is from Walton High School in Georgia, and the other is from South Carolina. Damn. The fuck?
I'm out on the Keyboom brothers.
Who do you think's got the better Twitter handle? Spencer's is Keyboom22. And Carter's is Carter Keyboom.
Number 2, easy.
The Keybooms. Yeah, so anyway, the Angels had a terrible lineup. Plesac, it's still impressive that he got the complete game shutout, but it wasn't enough for me. I looked at the game log and I was like, damn, those Angels suck. Trout's kind of hurt. He's going to try and come back and play. Ohtani's hurt and going to get another surgery, and then he's going to be recovering from 2 at the same time. My brother-in-law is a big Angels fan, and he might listen to Talkin' Baseball. So I know that you're a huge get Trout out of Anaheim proponent.
Free him.
And it's really hard not to be.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing?
I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about a lot of this stuff in the offseason. Do they have the money to go out and get a Garrett Cole or someone like that? And with Cole and Ohtani pitching next year, but again, like I just put Garrett Cole on their team. Like that's not a guarantee at all. It's just it sucks, man, and I feel like it's gonna be a bad trivia question. Like which two Hall of Famers played a decade together and never made a playoff game? And it's going to be Trout and Pujols, one of the best first basemen ever and maybe the best player ever. And it's frustrating. I'm not even a fan. I'm not a fan of their team, and I'm frustrated.
Buck Johnson says the Keybooms are brothers in the chat.
Okay, get out of here.
They
Buck.
went to different high schools in different states?
I don't want to Google it.
Okay. Slump watch.
Jim, final thing on Plesac. I mentioned complete game. You rest the bullpen. Jim, that was the middle game. They used some bullpen guys the next game, and then they had an off day. So, like you said, you wanted them to get a sweep in this Minnesota series. They are full bore. They're full bore.
Full bore. I'm rooting for the Indians.
I say good.
They are brothers. And they're on the same professional baseball team?
Sounds like no fun.
It sounds like an ideal childhood. Oh, there's a third brother. Oh, no.
Don't.
Oh, no. We got a Manning brother situation here.
Oh, boy.
Trevor Keyboom. Looks like the middle brother.
Ooh, tough.
Trevor did not want to catch like his older brother, but he did want to play. He started as a bat boy. Okay. Well, I don't know what happened to Trevor Keyboom, but it seems like he's not on the Nationals and his two brothers are.
Well, Manning brothers, that's a good segue into Slump Watch.
Dude, he's an agent.
Yeah, and one of the Manning brothers does oil stuff or whatever.
Trevor Keyboom, certified agent. So, it's pretty cool to be an agent when both your brothers are pros.
It works out.
Mm-hmm.
Really works out.
It really works out. All right, let's go to Slump Watch. Trevor Bauer's been on Slump Watch for a bit. He goes 6.1 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts versus Seattle. The Reds lost the game, but that's a good line from him. So let's get him out of here.
Yeah, he's gone. Maybe one golf clap at Seattle.
Oh, no,
so
I'm not,
whatever.
I'm not clapping.
See you, Trev.
Ryu still didn't pitch yet because they're skipping his starts. He will face the Mets, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Crush Davis for the A's, Jake. He goes 5 for 15 in the series, which is a 375 on base percentage, 908 OPS. He did have a home run, 4 RBIs. He had a hit in 4 games in a row, which I don't think he had done in a long, long time. So once again, he's momentarily off of Slump Watch. And it's like, you can clap for him if you want, but I'm not going to.
Right.
What do you got
Jim,
on Chris Davis?
I'm not clapping for him. I was going to cover it in Fuego, but I'll mention it now. The numbers from the Houston-Oakland series are all inflated because of the 15-run game and the 21 score. I could have done a whole in Fuego with just Houston and Oakland players, so I actually excluded them from in Fuego.
Yeah, my old theory, runs 1 through 10, very impressive. Any run scored after the 10th run in a game, you don't get credit for. It's not impressive. You're facing slot bullpen and position players.
Jim, there would be a legitimate argument for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players from the Oakland-Houston series to be on in Fuego. So by that rule, you're not in Fuego. You're like the norm.
Yeah, it's true.
So Good for you, Chris Davis. Get going.
Well, Andrew Benintendi, he goes 1 for 10 versus Toronto. He's now 1 for his last 26. Talk about a guy that might, phase out towards the end of the season just to kind of rest him. Unless he wants to play and finish strong, I guess it's kind of up to him. But yikes, Benintendi stays on slump watch because he's slumping.
Yeah, that'll be interesting just to see if Benny wants to pull the cord on this season and be like, oh, that wasn't great, or if he wants to try to salvage it with a little bit in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Eddie Rosario, he was on here. He went 2 for 10 this series with 2 walks. Twins lost the series, 273 on base percentage. Not enough to get off slump watch, right?
No, and I with the big series coming up, I think Eddie next week is Eddie's put up or shut up. Like, you're either off and you kind of blew it, or you can have an impactful week and the Twins need it.
And Aristides Aquino did the same thing, 2 for 10 with 2 walks, just like Eddie Rosario. And he's got a 486 OPS in September now. Aquino, he's a home run phenom. So, I mean, it's a difference. Like, is it slump watch or is it figured him out watch? And we probably won't know until next season.
And that's why I still want Aquino on the list just because I want to watch.
You just want to pay attention.
Yeah, I just want to know. I gotta know. I mean, if you are, that's fine. I just gotta know.
What are you talking about? Porcello did not pitch, so here are the new additions.
It's bad.
Yeah, okay, cool. Don't care about him. Don't want to keep up with his starts.
Yeah, want to keep track on Aquino, done with Porcello for this year.
These are my new additions.
Yep.
Alex Smith, Seattle. He's 0 for his last 22. Hasn't had a hit since September 1st, Jake.
Yikes. Me either, to be fair, but...
Oh, you had a hit. One of those tweets was good. Travis Shaw, 0 for September. I don't understand what they're doing with Travis Shaw. 21 plate appearances without a hit. He's been having a weird season.
Have you seen his stats on the year, Jim? They're past atrocious.
Yeah, and I don't get well, I'm just not as tuned in, and some Brewers fan would explain it to me is it injuries? Has he been up and down? Is it just bad? Why is his play so sporadic? I'm guessing. And is he just not a guy anymore?
Jim, what do you think his batting average and OPS is on the season?
I would guess 210 and 520.
Jim, his batting average is 151.
Okay. Yikes.
And his OPS is 526. So you're right there.
So he's not on slump watch. He's just fucking bad.
Yeah, but a Brewers fan needs to reach out and tell us what happened. Because, Jim, the past 2 years, he had 31 homers and 32 homers, respectively. And OPS is in the 8s. So, this is one of the steeper drops we've ever seen. So, yeah, if you're a Brewers fan, was it injury? Was it just a bad season and injury? What happened?
I got 2 guys going on slump watch from your Braves.
Yeah, young thick
Austin Riley comes off the IL, and in his 6 games, 4 starts, he gets 1 for 13. So this isn't really slump watch. Every guy coming off the IL has to have time to reacclimate themselves, and it's his first time coming off the IL in the major leagues. So it might be different for him. But I just thought we'd watch it. Because Dansby Swanson, Jake, he came off the IL a while ago, maybe a full month ago. And since then, he's starting shortstop. He's slashing 143 batting average, 263 on base percentage with a 447 OPS. That's not good. So I don't know what the future...
Coming off the IL. Tough break for my Braves.
What's that?
Couple guys coming off the IL. That's a tough break for my Braves.
Yeah, but Swanson's been his numbers are since coming off, but he's had enough time where it should be good now. Austin Riley hasn't.
I'll allow it.
But I don't know. Swanson's the shortstop. Does Austin Riley not have a guaranteed spot if this is how it is?
I think so. I think, Markakis is coming back soon. I know Matt Joyce has been really solid for them. I think it depends on the matchup. They probably want Austin Riley in versus a lefty, right?
Yeah. Austin Hedges, speaking of Austins for the Padres, Austin Hedges is 2 for his last 28. He's slashing .071, 188 on base percentage in September for your Padres. Good looking catcher, not good looking with the bat right now.
Yeah, and that's got to be one of the more disappointing things in Padres land this year. He's so good defensively, and he made a baby step last year. He had a 711 OPS, which for a catcher is what it is, especially if he can do what he does behind the plate. This year, man, 184 batting average, a 579 OPS. Man, it's crazy. And for you and me, I think there's another effect to this that's like, yo, guys having a bad year. Did you know the ball is juice this year? Like, Travis Shaw, this could have been like a 45 home run year for you. And instead, you're having an awful year?
Yeah. Travis Shaw. What's going on?
That's tough.
That's tough. Well, moving on.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
Woo! Woo! A lot of people don't expect to hear Dirt Nasty on Talkin' Baseball.
We're Bay Area rap guys. Jim and Fuego. I want to start off giving some love to the pitchers. This guy got mentioned earlier. He almost got my standout performance. Jim, Yu Darvish for the Chicago Cubs. 6 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts against those Padres we just talked about. Austin Hedges probably got a couple. Jim, in his last 11 games started, Yu Darvish, 2.44 ERA. And Jimmy, we had a couple of our Cubs fans reach out. One of them said, like, hey, Lester's been our big game guy. It's tough for me to picture them not giving Darvish the rock in a game they need. I mean, he's been their best starting pitcher of late. It does get scary with some of his playoff history. And, Jim, I mentioned that 2.44 ERA in his last 11. Most of that is from one bad start, which is kind of the catch-22 with Yu Darvish. If you get him and he's great, you're looking at 6 innings, 1 earned run, double-digit strikeouts. If you get the bad day, your season's over.
Who?
Darvish.
That's a phone call.
Cubby fans, reach out at JohnBoy at Talkin' Jake. Let us know who you want to get that rock. Maybe you guys catch up to the Cardinals. We don't even have to talk about it. Jim, this guy, I just had to put him on there. He could be on here pretty much every week. Justin Verlander for Houston. His last 4 games started, 27.1 innings pitched, a 1.32 ERA. He's silly.
What was his start after the no-hitter?
Verlander start after the no-hitter. I'll get there, James. Justin Verlander, after the no-no, it looks like he went here it is. He went no-hitter, and then he went seven innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 7 Ks. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's just silly. You could go back. You could do his whole season with numbers, and it looks pretty good. He's incredible, but he does deserve to be mentioned at some point. Can't just pass over him every week.
You know who got him?
Who got him?
Verlander, after the no-hitter, he had 2 hitless innings, so
Sure.
Add those up. So that's 11. Because the game before the no-hitter, he got ejected after giving up a double. So, yeah, so it's 11 no-hit innings in a row. And Shed Long.
Ooh.
Ex-Yankee.
My arch nemesis.
Yeah, you and Shed been fighting.
Me and Shed are beefing. Would love to talk about it, Shed.
More like Shed Wrong.
Shed wrong. Justin Verlander could be in Fuego every week. He lives an Fuego lifestyle. Shane, not Justin Bieber, Jim, for Cleveland. We talked about him. His last 10 games started a 2.27 ERA. And Jimmy, more so, the John Boy pitching stat, look at his game log. Jim, in the last 10, he's only given up 3 earned runs once. It was 3 earned runs on the nose. Everything else is 2 and under. And it's 6 innings plus every time.
Okay, I'm excited.
It's like Shane Bieber's last 10 has been your dream starting pitcher.
Oh, yeah, but that's like It's not even mine because I allow a little more than what people allow. This is good to anyone's measurements.
Yeah.
Shit.
And it's what I've been talking about. I mean, again, Shane Bieber, yeah, we saw him in the All-Star game and you're like, sure, he's a young guy having a good year. No, I mean, he's every night you've got a chance to win. And you could say that with basically the other four guys on the staff too. Shout out to Shane.
He's got 3 complete games on the season.
We like that.
Damn.
And I mean, Shane Bieber and Justin Bieber have that thing going. So if Shane Bieber can be really good like that, he's like the number one growth option for baseball right now. If you could feed off of Justin's coattails.
I know that you're saying this as somewhat of a joke, but it's actually pretty serious that if he becomes one of the best pitchers, having the name Bieber and Justin Bieber existing could be huge marketing for the MLB. Just the fact that that's his name. It's kind of like a silly way to think about it, but it's true.
I mean, it's crazy true. I mean, they've already exchanged tweets and stuff. Like, I'm sure Shane Bieber probably has more Twitter followers than every other Cleveland Indian. I'd have to check on that.
Not Bauer, but when Bauer was there.
Indian, so works out.
When he was there, though.
When. So, yeah, good job, Shane Bieber. Jim, you mentioned Milwaukee and the guy that gets you excited because when he's electric, he's electric. Josh Hader. He was on slump watch for a while. Jim, he's figured it out. His last 9 games, 6 saves, 10.1 innings pitched. He's getting 20 strikeouts in those 10.1. So 2 strikeouts an inning. And oh, by the way, he hasn't given up an earned run. He's only given up 3 hits and a walk. Hader's back. And that's huge for them.
That is, but I'm not rooting for them anymore. They're boring.
So sorry, Brewer fans. Jim, let's get to the bats because this is where it gets fun. Jim, this might be a rookie or maybe both Bichette or someone else got on here. And maybe Vlad. Kyle Lewis, a rookie for Seattle. You're going to hear he got called up. His first 3 games, Jim, he homered in all 3 of them. One of them broke up Sonny Gray's no-hit bid. So he's 5 for 11 in his first 3 games with 3 home runs playing right field for Seattle. Good for you, Kyle Lewis. Get some excitement going on up there.
Jake, I have to pause you for a second.
Please.
So I did my John Boy stat with Shane Bieber,
right.
And it's maybe the most impressive going. Like Verlander, I'll have to find it out. Jake, 25 of his 31 starts fit into my category of you did what you did enough for your team to win.
Right.
25 of 31. It's an 80% of his starts are a winning effort. It's fucking crazy, man.
So that means 4 out of 5 starts. So basically, he's gonna give you one start a month. That's meh.
Yeah, it's not even terrible. It's just meh.
Right.
He doesn't have a 6 earned run. He has 1 6 earned run start this season, and 4 5 earned runs.
Which, hey.
No, it was 6 out of 30, so it's 80-something percent because there's 1 he came out of the bullpen. It's incredible. I'm a big Shane Bieber fan.
Shane Bieber fan, John Boy. All right. So, Jim, back to the sticks a little bit. Kyle Lewis, good for you. We'll mention you briefly later. Jim, I want to bring up my guy Jorge Soler again. Solar power in Kansas City. Jim, he goes 6 for 13, 3 of them being home runs. Jim, since the start of August, so 37 games, so we're going back a little bit, he's had 16 home runs with a .292 batting average, a .410 on base, and a 1.118 OPS. Jim, Jorge Soler has 44 homers and 107 RBIs, and there's probably not a lot of people outside of Cubs Nation that know what he's doing at all.
Outside of Cubs Nation because they traded him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jorge Soler's going to sneak up on 50 Yabos this year. And I think
it's cool to see him put it together.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And Jim, it's why I stretched out the stats because 292, 410 with a 1.11. over the past month and a half with his season numbers, it's like, damn, Jorge Soler put it together, which has to be exciting for Royals fans. They're looking for things to rally behind. And dude, I saw one of Soler's homers, and he pimped it pretty good. He's feeling himself, and I'm happy for him.
Well, some of his home runs are bombs.
I mean, he's got crazy power, and that was the scouting report even when he was in Chicago. But it was, can he put the ball on the bat enough? Good for Jorge. And Jim, I'm glad. I am so glad, Jim, that you ended Slump Watch with Austin Riley and Dansby Swanson from my Braves, because I did a combo and Fuego for Albies, Acuna, and Freeman. My guys, you thought I wasn't going to talk about them? Are you kidding me? Jimmy, in this series they just played against the Phillies, they just missed, the three of them, getting on base at a 50% clip. So those three guys coming up every time through the lineup for 4 games basically got on base, flip a coin. And that's just, again, I just think that's so impactful for them, especially when Donaldson's right behind him. And Jim, because I couldn't give him my award this week, Acuna is the youngest player ever to reach the 35-35 club. He's got 39 homers, 36 stolen bases, so he's going to get 40-40. But yeah, I mean, Albies, Acuna, Freeman, if you go a whole series getting on base every other time with 3 guys, that's impactful.
It's very impactful. Good for them. Good for the Braves. They're making up for Dansby.
Dansby.
Oh, weird name, Dansby.
Dansby. Vandy, go Doors.
Way back up and I don't even know. Goodbye, home run. I mean,
you know what, guys? The Orioles played the Dodgers. They did pretty well, right, Jake?
Yeah, man. I dug through the stats and I was looking for like anyone that really jumped out. Nobody really did. Kudos to the Orioles. They won one against the Dodgers. They're the Orioles. Obviously a terrible season. They're going to end up with a better record than Detroit. And I mean, they're putting a couple notches on the belt. They beat Verlander a couple weeks ago. They got a game against the Dodgers. Good for you, Orioles. Although we do get really excited when you get a bad player hot. So if you could do that next series, we'd appreciate that.
Did you see the Bundy thing?
Mm-mm.
So it's he crossed up his catcher or missed his spot, and his catcher missed it, and it goes to the backstop, and there's 2 runners on, and he doesn't cover home, so 2 runs score on the play. And he gets taken out right after. Hyde's pissed at him. It's very. I'm going to do a breakdown. I haven't really looked at all the footage, just saw one angle, because part of it looks like he's just so mad his catcher missed the ball when he struck the guy out. He's like, "Fuck this." Part of him may have thought, just throw it to, since bases were loaded, like he can't run to first, can't advance. It's just a strikeout. Or some people think it looks like he said, "Fuck this," and let the run score. I doubt that. He definitely knew he fucked up and was just like looking around mad afterwards. But I was in some Orioles threads, and they're like, they say he's got bad attitude these days. How the fuck could you not have a bad attitude if you're playing for the Orioles? And I was reading like how Tigers fans are like, "Hey, the Orioles are awesome because we're worse than them." But they get credit. Dude, the Orioles are embarrassingly bad. Like they've had 2 fights within their own dugout. They're giving up the record for home runs allowed. Their defense in the outfield is atrocious. Like, I don't know if the Tigers have all these like extra things that are just like gut punch after gut punch after gut punch after like that make them a laughing stock. Tigers are just bad. The Orioles are laughably bad.
Yeah, but we've seen a lot of the Orioles, and they've got a lineup and a couple pieces there. And I don't know. I think for Bundy, I mean, Dylan Bundy has been on the Orioles since 2012. So here we are in 2019, and he's got a 5 flat ERA, and like he probably carries himself like he's not a part of it. And it's like, dude, you're kind of the main part of this. But that was Talkin O's.
Yeah, Talkin O's. Well, we have some more Talkin O's coming up later.
Oh.
We could technically do Hyde for who got mad because he was mad at Bundy.
Who got mad?
What the hell are you doing? You gotta be kidding me. That is so bad. That is absolutely brutal. That is unbelievable. That is totally absurd.
Who got mad? Jake, who got mad?
Who got mad?
A couple more ejections. There's always ejections. James McCann. So he gets strike 1 called on him. James McCann for the why am I blanking? White Sox?
Yes.
Gets called a strike 1 pitch on the outside. That's off the plate. Calls it a strike. Later on, I think he was DHing. He's in the dugout, and his teammate gets an outside pitch, and it's called a ball. And he's like, hey, those are the same thing. And he gets yelled at. He gets thrown out. Will Myers, middle of that bat, drew a line in the dirt showing the ump where the ball crossed, and he got ejected. I think it was actually a strike. I think Will was wrong. Woodward for Rangers gets ejected for balls and strikes. This was an interesting one. For Seattle, Dietrich's at bat, Jake, in the 9th inning, 2 outs, runners on base. Dietrich's up, 0-2 pitch. He swings at the ball, checks his swing. The ball hits the dirt, bounces off the catcher, and then on Dietrich's backswing, his bat hits the ball, which sends the ball to the backstop, which allows a run to score and Dietrich to run to first base on the drop third strike. And the Mariners and Scott, how do you say his last name?
I think it's Cervais.
Me too. Cervais is like, what the fuck? Like, yo, he hit it with his bat. You can't advance on that. And the ump called it the check swing. The third base ump called it a swing. So technically, as soon as the bat hits the ball, it's a dead ball. No one can advance. The game's over. They umps didn't get together. They never all got together and talked about it. And they just said, no, it's like drop third strike. The Seattle Mariners entertainment people in the scoreboard, the infield scoreboard, they showed the highlight of the bat hitting the ball after the argument, and Scott Service just went crazy and was like, are you kidding me? Look. So that was kind of an interesting rule that you don't really see a lot and kind of wild. And it's just like, just fucking use replay, MLB.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a reviewable play. Why? It took the public 2 seconds to understand it hit his bat. Literally, it took them probably 10 seconds to understand it hit his bat. And now we have 10 minutes of yelling and arguing, and you guys try to figure it out because you decided this play can't be reviewed. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, Jim, there was an NFL game last year or a couple years ago where they missed something blatant, and like technically by the rules, like there was nothing the refs could do about it, except there was one hidden NFL review rule that's called like the like I forget what it's called, but it's basically a we fucked up rule. And so the refs came out and they were like, we got this wrong, we have to do this. And everyone moved on and was like, yes, because we got it right. In the MLB, they'll have to work towards having the get the call right line somewhere in the review rules. Because, yeah, if you can see that, you're not benefiting the sport anymore.
No, it's stupid. It's really dumb.
Hey, kid. Guess who?
Guess who? Grandpa?
I don't know, man. You're the GM. I have your number saved. You getting the call, kid.
Welcome
Jimmy.
to the show. Yeah. Tell me, who got called up?
Call up watch. Jim, at first I got a little daunted. I was like, oh, damn. Like there's like 9 or so names. I was like, how are we going to do this? Jim, luckily 4 of them were from the Seattle Mariners. I don't know if the Mariners just put it together that you could do September call-ups, or maybe their AAA team was in the finals or something, and they were like, "Hey, go enjoy it, guys." But 4 guys for the Mariners get the call. I'll start. A couple pitchers came up. Jim, you would like this. Justin Dunn, his MLB debut, walks 5. I tried not to laugh. It's tough, kid. He's 23. He's going to get more of an opportunity. But that's tough.
Timeout. He walked 5?
Walked 5. So that's a tough break.
What's his name? I mean, this is a must.
Justin Dunn.
Wow.
Justin Dunn. I knew you were going to dive into that, so I'll keep going. Art Warren also got called for them. He got 1 out, gave up a hit and a walk. No runs, though. Good for you, Art. They called up shortstop Donnie Walton. I don't think he's a big-time prospect for them. They've got Crawford at shortstop. Walton gets the call. He got his first MLB hit. And Kyle Lewis, Jim, in right field. We talked about him. A home run in each of his first 3 baseball games, including the Sonny Gray no-hitter. He's a top 100 prospect. If you're in Seattle, you're pretty excited about Kyle Lewis right now.
Justin Dunn went to Gunnery, so do you like him?
Yeah, I saw it. He grew up in New York, went to prep school in Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's the dude that's friends with Justice Sheffield. Like, I think they're tight. Like, it's part of the reason they sent Sheffield to AA or whatever. But that's irrelevant.
Okay, so first 4 pitches in his big league career, ball, walks Josh Van Meter. Then throws a ball, and then a strike swinging to Joey Votto.
Right.
And they steal. So I think it was a hit and run. Because they're like, yo, he's going to throw you a cookie. He just threw He threw 5 balls in a row, has to throw you a cookie here. Let's put on a hit and run. I like that. Votto missed it, but the steal was fine. He gets to 3-2 on Votto with a called strike. So there's 1 called strike in his first 10 pitches. 1 called strike. Good job. But he walks Votto. Dude, then they stole third. Damn, then they did a double steal on him.
It's tough.
This is brutal.
Yeah.
Then Eugenio Suarez comes up. He gets it to a full count. Called strike, and then foul, ball, foul, ball. So threw some strikes in there. So now he's got the bases loaded with 3 walks, the first 3 batters he's faced as a professional player. He does sound a lot like Justice Sheffield, you're right. Fly ball, so the sac fly for an RBI from our dude Aristides. But you'll trade that in a heartbeat.
Easy.
Then he walks Freddie Galvis.
Yeah.
Then another sac fly. Then he walked Brian O'Grady. Damn. I'm sorry, Justin. I'm rooting for your success long term.
Yes.
But that is a horrible debut.
Not all MLB debuts are made equal.
Dude, walk. Okay, he allowed 5 walks, 2 sac flies, and 3 stolen bases.
It's tough.
And he didn't finish the first inning.
It's not an easy game. We again, with lots of love, Justin Dunn, we are rooting for you. But yeah, Seattle, more excited about Kyle Lewis right now. Jim, we got two big ones here. Nico Horner, the shortstop for the Cubs. If you remember, it's when we were recording last episode, he officially got the call, but we didn't really deep dive into it. Decent shortstop prospect, 5 for 15 in his first 4 games. Cubs fans were reaching out to us a lot. They were really excited. Jim, they were batting him. I think he was mostly 8-hole, and he got one game at the 6-hole. So it looks like they're not banking on Nico Horner, but they're giving him a shot.
Triple in his first game.
Like that.
That's cool.
That's a good time.
Addison Russell's hitting like a bag of shit. Is he hurt?
He might be hurt too. I forget. He's having a bad year on and off the field. How about that? Jim, the other guy, I mentioned him before. Jesus Luzardo for Oakland. Jimmy, he's 21 years old. He's Peruvian. How about that? He did grow up in Florida. But, Jim, you're going to like this. He came out of the bullpen, 3 innings pitched, 1 hit. It was a home run to someone on the Astros, your only hit. Who is it? Is it Bregman? Altuve? Who got you? Martin Maldonado clipped him. Not as exciting. But, Jim, I told you, man, Oakland now, they've called up Sean Murphy. They've called up AJ Pook. They called up Luzardo. They are bringing in the reinforcements, man. They are full bore. Second time I've said that.
Full bore.
Full bore.
Full bore.
And dude, you and I did a whole thing on Talkin' Yanks, how you want weapons. If Luzardo's a guy that could go 3 for them in the playoffs, I mean that can change a game. Jimmy, the last guy, Johnny Davis. We like that. Fundamentally strong name. Center fielder for Tampa. He's 29 years old, so we like when one of the older guys gets a call. Jim, he pitch run in the 7th, and that was it. He didn't steal or anything. Yeah.
Johnny Davis does sound like a fast name. Good job.
So his MLB debut, he pinch run, didn't steal a base, didn't score anything. I'm hoping Johnny Davis gets a chance to swing the stick at some point, but you got the call, kid.
All right. Moving on to awards. Jake, my award, okay? And this is a quick one. It's a quick hitter. It's the Great Minds Award.
Okay.
And it goes to Brandon Hyde.
Okay. Orioles manager
Brandon Hyde. He was asked about, if the Orioles finish with 99, 100, or 115 losses. Like, what's it? He says, all those numbers evoke the same feeling. And I think that's a great mind. Like, yeah, 99 losses isn't any better than 115. Good call, Brandon. And then he also said, I want to finish the season strong, and then I want to be a lot better next year. And it's like, damn, another just genius plan. And if I was in his spot, I'd have the same plan. And I was just like, there's great minds. That's why they hired
you and
that
Hyde.
guy. Yeah, me and Hyde. I mean, that would be my plan as well. Just I want to be better. Or no, I want to be a lot better next year. Not just better, a lot better next year. I'm just not sure, he knows how it works. But just great minds to think. To be able to have the mental fortitude to understand that should be the plan. It's great by Hyde.
The wherewithal.
Yeah. So,
I'm excited for this Orioles offseason.
What could, we'll do this later, but what could possibly be, what's a possible move that can help them?
I have no idea. They've got a couple guys who can hit. Maybe if they could bring in an outfielder that could play defense and hit, that would be a big plus for them. And then, I told you my plan with their pitching is you go like Disney movie. You have open tryouts. You invite everyone from overseas. You invite everyone from independent ball. You have it out. You find one guy there. So you got John Means, and I don't know, take a couple bullpen flyers. I think, next year, I think the Orioles are going to be better.
Yeah, but Brandon Hyde is a great mind. He wants to be a lot better.
And that's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart.
What's he mean? Just lose 80 games? He knows they're not going to be like a winning team.
I think, you probably say at spring training, like 500 is the goal. And then, I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, it's probably like 90, 95 losses.
I don't know what they can do. We'll dive into it in the offseason. Like, I don't know. They don't really have much in the pipeline. They don't like spending money. What are you going to
do? Trade back for Yastrzemski.
Jake, who's your award going to?
Jim, my award, a very prestigious award, is the Wearing Layers Award.
Oh, because we're going into fall?
We're going into fall and one of your favorite seasons. You know that times are changing. Yesterday was the first time in like 4 months that I had to bring a little hoodie to wear when I was taking my dog out. So people, wear your layers. Jim, someone, and I don't know if you know this yet or if you know the whole thing or what. If you don't, I'm so excited to see your reaction. The award goes to Ryan Braun, Jim, because in yesterday's game, he wore Yelich's jersey under his jersey. Not a joke.
Why?
So go Google it. And Jim, that's where we're gonna get into some stuff that I think we can have a lot of jokes with. Braun hit a home run. So I'll get you there. Braun hit a home run while wearing both jerseys. So good for you, Brawny. B, have you ever worn a jersey? Picture wearing 2 jerseys. That's not comfortable. It's kind of it's restrictive. Again, he hit a home run, so good for him. Jimmy, all of the quotes coming out of this, and so I'm going to preface it. Sports teams are always looking for something to rally around, whether it's a hurt player or a coach or, you know, the Yankees playing New York. Boston snagged as much of that as they could, and they rallied around it. Sports teams look for motivation anywhere they can. Jim, some of the quotes from Ryan Braun, they're treating Yelich like he died.
Was it a jersey or was it like a jersey?
Jim, full jersey.
Are you positive on that?
Yeah, where can I send you a link? Because I mean, it's like you can literally see it hanging underneath.
Oh my God, I'm looking at it.
Yes, full jersey, full double jersey. I'm so happy you didn't know about this because I know this pulls on you a lot of different ways.
Jesus. I mean, Braun's never been cool.
Sure. Unless you live in Milwaukee.
Nah.
Yeah.
Steroids, lying to everyone. I think he had a call and personally apologized to everyone and was like, dude, he ruined someone's life. I mean, he's a bad guy.
Not a great guy.
He ruined a guy's life, like sent him to jail.
Right.
Knowingly. Said if anyone doesn't know the story, the guy who tested the steroids, Braun said that guy fucked with his results just to mess with him, which is tampering, which like ruined that guy's career and life for a little bit. And Braun knowingly did that because he was a bad guy and did all the steroids and stuff. So, I mean, Braun's not a good guy. And he's always, like, the clothing line he had with Aaron Rodgers was just maybe one of the douchier clothing lines you can possibly have.
Sure.
This is preposterous.
Jimmy,
if you're Yelich, you don't like this. Unless they're laughing about it in the clubhouse.
Which maybe they are. But, Jimmy, no. I mean, the quote from Braun, they're treating Yelich like he died. Ryan Braun literally said the words like, I know he's watching. It's like, what? Like that Yelich, he broke his kneecap. It wasn't like a plane accident or anything. So I don't know. I just know that you're a guy that probably a nightmare would be playing baseball in 2 jerseys because that just seems sweaty and so uncomfortable. And it's pretty ridiculous. Hey, he hit a homer. Maybe there's magic in that jersey, and they're using it to rally around right now, and they've won 7 straight. So if that's what they need, knock yourselves out.
Gross. You know what? It all adds up. All the Brewers stuff is added up.
Adds up.
Elevator talk. We got Chicago White Sox. Jake, you want to take it on?
White Sox. I feel like we've kind of done them. We've done like the whole Giolito thing, and they're not super exciting right now.
It's tough for White Sox fans.
Oh.
Baltimore Orioles. We just did them.
Yes.
Now we have to do this team no matter what. Chicago White Sox again.
White Sox. And the White Sox won, man.
Is Ivan Nova still doing good stuff? If you're in an elevator with some White Sox fan, I mean, really, you got Anderson going for the batting title still, right?
Right.
You got Abreu. I mean, Eloy Jimenez, I think, just went off. So the White Sox are in a good place because they still have promise for next year.
Right.
Especially with, I think, the Royals and the Tigers are still going to be bad.
Very
So you have the Indians, and the Indians, will see what they do. They have a lot of young arms, but like they're going to run out of money soon, and they've actively said they're not going to like spend money, which sucks.
Well, I mean, at some point they're going to be able to flip Lindor or something, and I mean, load up the cabinets again.
Yeah. So what are White Sox fans watching for? Their manager gets ejected nonstop.
Jim, you mentioned Tim Anderson. That's exciting. Moncada is keeping it going, dude. His numbers on the year. That Chris Sale trade may look very different in about a year or so, depending on how Michael Kopech comes back. Because Moncada's having a very good year. Eloy, he's shown the power. That's kind of all you want to see from his rookie year. Jim, you know who's a crazy, interesting guy? Jose Abreu. I always laugh because when we search through the game logs to look for who's hot and who's not, Abreu's name is first just because it is alphabetically. So I've got a pretty good idea what Jose Abreu is doing on a weekly basis. And he's putting together just another really good year.
Where do you search that it's alphabetical?
Baseball Reference.
Oh, we must do it different.
And you do the last 4 days or whatever, search, and it pops up, and then you have to hit homers or hits or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I click OPS immediately, so I never even knew there was alphabetical first.
Right. Before you click OPS, they're alphabetical. So that's what makes me laugh, because I see it every week.
Oh,
You'll
nice.
see it now, too.
I'm pretty quick with that. Nova had that incredible stretch, Jake.
Yeah.
Then he's been not good again, which sucks. I was rooting for him to get a paycheck off the incredible stretch. Lie about a new approach. Renteria's been ejected a bunch. He made the ump come to him. You can talk about that if you're a White Sox fan. Giolito started off incredibly hot, then get bad, and now he's been good again. Oh, shit, he's bad again, Jake.
His last start was good.
No, it wasn't. 6 innings pitched, 5 earned runs.
And you're not going to like this, but he had a bunch of strikeouts, right?
Who cares?
Yeah, he's figuring out. The season doesn't matter, Jim. If you're talking pitchers in White Sox land, you say, "Hey, Giolito, what a year!" Like at this point, it's already been a great year. You're saying, "Hey, Reynaldo Lopez and Dylan Cease. Are you seeing stuff you like?" Cease is striking out a lot of guys. We could build on that. Lopez had that really good start ago, and you get excited for Kopech next year.
Yeah. Through 16 games, Giolito had a 2.72 ERA. Through 29, he's got 3.41 and rising. That's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean it's still going to be a really good year. I mean, especially where he was and juice ball, et cetera, et cetera. It's a great year for Giolito.
What was his ERA last year? It was terrible, right? 6.
I mean, he had the most losses in baseball, right? His ERA was 6.13 last year.
13 losses. Damn. Is Abreu a free agent soon?
I was just going to look that up. I think they signed him to not a super team friendly contract, but just kind of what you'd expect, like $18 million a year, $20 million a year. Actually,
he's a free agent next year.
He might be a free agent. Yeah, which that's bizarre to me though, because why was there no like Jose Abreu's available at the trade deadline talk?
That's good. That's a really good point.
Right? Like, we did a lot of trade deadline stuff, and Jose Abreu was never mentioned anywhere.
Could be our fault.
Could be us.
Is Abreu coming back? Do they have a first baseman in the pipeline?
Not that I know of. If you're a White Sox fan, reach out.
That's what you got to be asking the guy in the elevator if you're with an in-depth White Sox fan. All right. That ends this episode of Talkin' Baseball. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us and listening. We will be back again on Monday, and I think we'll be in the same room doing it, Jake?
Yes, sir. See you in a couple hours.
Cool. Bye, guys. Whew. All right. See you, Patreons.